back, homie. We back. We fizzity back. Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. Today, I'm gonna do semi get ready with me skincare routine, yada yada yada. Not really skincare, but this is just what I do on a daily basis when I'm getting ready to go somewhere. I'm actually getting ready to go to one of my gym girlies, her house, and we're gonna do like a little small little, I would say, girls' night. I actually have to be there probably like in the next 20 to 30 minutes. She literally stays right down the street. Let's get into this video, shall we? I'm blind. I wear glasses. I want to, oh girl, they 30, but I do want to show you how thick, if you can really see how thick these mofos is. I wear a negative 7.5. I have been blind all my life. Oh, I hate when that happens. Okay, boom. We're good to go. Today's Yap session is about me and my 11 million jobs that I've had in the last 10 years, okay? It actually might be like 11 or 12 years because I want to start from really like the beginning of my adulthood when they kicked me out the nest. Let's start off by washing my face. We're going to use Miss Neutrogena. I have had, really, realistically, I think I've had 10 jobs. I'm going to go through them with you because it might be less than that. Okay, so there was Keisha Louise. I'm out of face wipes. Oh my god. Okay, hold on. This video has probably gotten so chaotic at the moment, and it doesn't even matter. I'm gonna still post it. It doesn't. It don't matter. It don't matter. It don't matter. It don't matter. Where were we? I was a bank teller, a flight attendant, a waitress. I worked at Spectrum as a communication tech. Worked front desk for an eye doctor. From that job, I actually got promoted into a optometrist, not the doctor, the person that fixes and sells glasses. So I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. But from there, actually in that same industry, I started to learn how to be an eye doctor tech, the technician who actually like blow stuff in your eye and you have to look at the balloon and they take a picture. Yeah, I was learning how to do that, but they weren't trying to pay me more money. So I left that job, left there, and I went to another eye doctor office where I was actually working for the people who did the surgery on your eyes. But that was so depressing. I left, and then I went off to become a bottle girl, hookah girl. I dabbled and dabbled in a little bit of bartending. I worked the door at the club. And then from there, I actually became a leasing consultant, got promoted, went to assistant property manager, and then became a property manager. And now I'm a content creator with a part-time job at a gym and a food truck. I've always been very, very, very independent. I like my money. I like my coins. And baby, I don't like asking people for money. Never have. Never will. Let's get into the jobs. We're gonna start off with some Good Molecule brightening toner. I became a bank teller at the age of 20. My mom was already working in the banking industry and homegirl needed a job. Actually working in retail going up to becoming a bank teller. But again, this is more so about my adult jobs and I'm really thinking about 21 and up because I'm 31. I got hired as a bank teller at 20 though. I was working in retail, needed more money, and my mom was like, apply to work at a bank. By the way, there is a pattern about all of these jobs because my mom influenced me on every single last one of them. So you will hear me probably say that a lot. So my mom convinced me to get this job. Love my mama. Eventually ended up working at the bank teller and everybody and their mom quit. I'm talking about my manager, the other girl There was two other girls. Everybody that I was on the bank teller line with left me. I became super, super sad. It was like, whoa. And I actually started off as a part-timer and I got promoted to a full-timer around my birthday, I want to say. My birthday has always been a trend for like getting new jobs. When my manager quit, they didn't have anybody else working the teller line. So they started training me on how to become basically the teller manager. But they were not gonna give me the job. I don't know. I guess I just didn't have enough experience. But they started training me on it because who else was gonna sign off on these checks? I was only making $9.66. I remember that thing because that number makes me so mad. $9.66, and I was signing off on like $10,000 to $30,000 checks. Babe, when I tell you I went to my car and cried every day on my lunch, I could not believe this is my job. This was horrible. This was depressing. I'm like, I'm not making enough money here. I got my first apartment when I was 21. I was making $600 a check, and my freaking rent was $600 a month. I was also still working at Foot Locker, but mama, I was tired. I didn't want to work two jobs. I wanted one good job. Now, my mom at the time, like I said, she was also working in the bank. And the flight attendant one day came into her bank and she was telling her all about how fun it was. I should try it. Tell her to apply. They're always hiring. I had never been on a plane. Never, ever had been on a plane. Not at all. But being a flight attendant sounded cool. I get to travel, see the world, get away from Raleigh, North Carolina, like all of that good stuff. I was like, bet, sign me up. I'm going to go in now with the Good Molecule Hyaluronic Acid Serum. Yeah. I applied to be a flight attendant. My very first interview, I was late. I was like 5 minutes late and they did not let me in the door. They were like, "Bam, I'm so sorry. We don't care about none of that. You have to show that you will not be tardy before we hire you." Devastated. They came back, did another interview maybe like a month later. When I tell you I was at that interview like 30 minutes early, sitting outside waiting for them to open the door, I was getting this job. I was getting the heck up out of banking. Got the job, and I was a flight attendant for a year and a half, probably a little bit over a year. And I actually got fired on my birthday. I wanted to fly to California. My best friend at the time, the idea was that me and her were going to fly to California for my birthday, and we were going to use my benefits. I had only used my benefits one time as a flight attendant, and that was to go to Vegas. I was like, I want to use my time. I'm going to go to California for my 22nd or 23rd birthday. It's like my 23rd birthday, yes. I had to put in time 90 days before the actual day. And I was 89 days short. So they denied my time off. That's cool. I got sick days, ho. I'm going to take it off regardless. Everything happens for a reason, but let me tell you, the 23-year-old me was pissed when they called me in and said, "We need you to surrender your tablet, your flight attendant license, all of that. Bring it in. You're done. You're out of here." They pissed me off so bad. They basically tried to tell me that I was on my third warning, and I was not. I was not on my third warning. Somebody lied and said that I fussed somebody out on the plane. I've never fussed anybody out in customer service. God knows I wanted to, but I've never fussed anybody out in customer service at all. And they said I was rude to them on the plane, and that was supposed to be like my final warning or something, but they were lying. It was like, oh my god, it was just a whole bunch of lies with that company. That company was so shady. By the way, I did not tell you what this was. I am using Good Molecule Lightweight Daily Moisturizer. Yeah, they lied. I got fired on my birthday at the same time that I was working as a flight attendant, because at that job you still didn't get paid a whole lot of money until you were really in the industry within like I would say 2 to 3 years, because I was making $18 an hour, but I was only making that if the door on the plane was closed. So that time that people are boarding the plane, anytime we're just sitting there waiting for control to tell us that we can leave, all of that, flight attendants were not getting paid unless you were out of the city you were originally hired in, then you got per diem, and per diem was only like $1 an hour. So if you were doing 1 to 2 day trips, you were not making no real money, unless you were doing 3 to 4 day, 5 day trips, and then you got money. Okay. I hated being a flight attendant. So when I got fired, it was like a bittersweet moment. One, because I didn't get to really experience anything. I had a whole apartment at home, while other flight attendants were paying maybe $200 to $300 to live somewhere. I had a whole, like I said, $600 apartment at home. So when I was making $18 an hour, basically my paycheck was only like $500. So I would always have to borrow money from my mom to pay my rent, to have a place to come home to, then to turn around and get my bigger paycheck and pay my mom back and somehow figure out life. Not to mention you were only getting paid twice a month. That was horrible. I did not like also that I was flying on somebody else's time. I would be on a 4-day trip having plans for the weekend, things coming up. I remember one time I was supposed to be back on a Wednesday, and that Thursday I had something scheduled to go get my hair braided or something. And on the flight, getting ready to go on a flight back home, they called in and said, no, we need you on a flight to Minneapolis. Yeah, girl, they pulled me right off the other flight to go home and said, no, we're going to put you on a flight to Minneapolis. You're going to fly to Minneapolis, and then you'll go home the next day. Let me tell you something. What really ticked me off with that situation, oh my, I could really give y'all some tea. That might have to be a second video. That might have to be a third video. I might have to really get into the ins and the outs of why I hated being a flight attendant, bro. Oof. Hands down, that's one job I absolutely would never do. Which I will say, I did interview for Delta and Southwest when I did get fired for the company that I was working with, because I was like, well, I don't know how to be anything else. What do I do? And I didn't get either one of those. So like I said, God was like, girl, nope, wrap it up. Wrap it up. We're not doing that. So I didn't do that. So got fired, was working at Waffle House, got a job at Chili's, quit Waffle House because I got the job at Chili's, got fired from Chili's maybe 2 months in, got into it with the manager because they were all big about upselling. Oh, you need to offer these people this. You need to get them to get dessert. You need to see if they want more drinks. When I was only making $2 an hour. $2 an hour. You want me to upsell somebody so they can spend $200 at your establishment for me not to get any money off of that? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. So yeah, me and him kind of got into it. He was like, well, you act like you don't care. You want the honest truth, babe? I don't. I'm just here to get a paycheck. He was like, well, you can leave. Okay. And I left. So technically, I don't know if I got fired or if I really walked out of that job. I don't know. It's probably, that one's up in the air. To brush my teeth, girl. Let me do that because I can smell my breath from here. Brush these teethuses. One check. My teeth are clean. That was like a really depressing time for me. Trying to figure out what I was supposed to do in this life, because I hated being a flight attendant. I hated working at the bank. And I also hated being a waitress. But baby, I don't sit around at home being broke. Okay? That ain't me. That ain't never being me. That is never gonna ever be me. Gots to get the money. Gots to get the money. Around that time, I think I was applying to anything and everything. My mom was like, apply to front desk jobs. Let's tell you, my mama, she gave me a job. She told me what to go do, and I went and I did it. So my mom was like, go get a front desk job. So, all right, bet. Oh, I worked at Sally's too. That's how I met some of my best friends right now. Actually, I probably already knew them, but they got me. Yeah, actually, I did know them. I knew them, and then they helped me get a job at Sally's. So I was working at Sally's. Got the job at Sally's. Then I applied every single where, and I ended up getting a job as a front desk person at an eye care center, eye doctor's office. Somebody ended up quitting, and my manager was like, "You have a great personality. I really think you can sell glasses. Do you want to learn this trait? Am I going to make more money?" He was like, "Yeah, bring it on." I started selling glasses and fixing glasses. And so now I know how to fix glasses, which is kind of cool because I'm blind. And as you can see, I wear glasses. So one day I want my own glasses. I want my own glasses line, I guess you could say. Yeah. Yanni's Eyewear, Yanisha's Eyewear, Jazzy B Eyewear, B for bad bitches. No, I actually worked at that company for 3 years, and they was not trying to give your girl any money. I was making maybe $12 an hour. Yeah, I was making $12 an hour. And I wanted more money. I'm like, bro, I come here, I hate it. I hate working in customer service. But here's the funny thing is you will never really escape customer service as long as you are living in America. There is some form of customer service in every job. But they won't give me no money, girl. I needed some money. And a friend told me about Spectrum. God, I should never listen to that friend. My mama didn't recommend Spectrum. Another friend recommended Spectrum. Spectrum was paying $15 an hour. I was like, all right, well, let me apply. Let me apply. Got the job. I would say I've never walked out of the job, but then that wouldn't be true because I walked out of Chili's. I definitely walked out of Spectrum. Spectrum was a cable company, and basically my job as a, I guess, technician, they called it then, is that people would call in and either start their service or having trouble with their cable or their internet, like something wasn't working. When I tell you, people got so upset because they could not watch their stories or their game or whatever, and they would call and cuss me out like I messed something up. Cuss me out. It was sad and depressing too sometimes because I work like the late night shift. So somebody's grandma would every now and then call in like she can't get her stuff to work, and I'd be like, "Do you have anybody at home to help you get this set up?" And they're like, "No, my husband died 2 weeks ago, and my grandchildren never call or come visit." And oh my God, I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm getting stressed out just thinking about it. Got clocked out from lunch one day and never went back. And this was actually COVID. This was 2020 COVID. Yes, 2020 COVID. And it was kind of perfect timing because I think they ended up having people take home computers and stuff. And I, girl, won't take nothing home. I was never going to get work done sitting at home listening to people complain about their damn cable. Especially in COVID. Now you got people sitting at home upset because they really can't watch their stuff or the internet not working. We all sit at home in the pandemic? Absolutely not. Then I went and worked for, I want to say, ophthalmology. Basically, the doctors that perform the surgeries on people's eyes, like if you got glaucoma, if you got a tumor back there, the children, the blind babies. Oh my God, that job was so depressing too because people were literally coming in there and they couldn't see. They couldn't see, and I couldn't see, and I didn't want to end up like these people who couldn't see, so I just didn't need to be in that room with these people that could not see. Those doctors would literally slam pack their schedule. I'm talking back to back to back to back with people coming in there from surgeries or appointments or checkups. They would go and they would come to me, and I was working at front desk, so I was controlling their schedule, and they would go, "Oh yeah, we're playing golf tomorrow with such and such. I need you to clear out my schedule for tomorrow." That's not an issue. The issue is now that I got to call Betty Sue, who hasn't been able to get an appointment for 2 months and that needs to get her glaucoma checked, and tell Betty Sue that I can now not get her in the office until another 4 weeks to get her glaucoma checked because the doctor is not going to be here tomorrow. I've scheduled this 2 months ago and I've been trying to get into the doctor for this. Sorry, Betty Sue. Bob's playing golf tomorrow with Jake. Yeah, girl, quit that. I also I think I was just on a streak at this point because I walked out that job too, clocked out for lunch, never came back. It really got me messed up. Y'all got me messed up. After that, I think I sat down for a couple of months without a job. I had to really reevaluate and figure out what I was gonna do with my life. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed, and I was like, God, what do I do? I actually started to make a little bit of content that year because I mean that's what everybody was doing. Everybody was hopping on TikTok. Unfortunately, I ended up talking to a guy around that year who basically told me that my posts and my videos on Instagram and stuff was too much. I was doing too much. I think I came to him about like, "Ooh, I should start a podcast," and he literally said, "Who would watch that? Who would watch you? What information do you have to share?" And that discouraged me. I stopped posting on internet. I stopped posting on Instagram. I had built my following up on Instagram probably to almost 4,000 followers. And I would have probably kept growing had I continued to post. I was posting every day, faithfully. I was getting into my dance bag. I was just doing anything because I really wanted to be a content creator. I wanted to be a content creator. I wanted to do YouTube. I wanted to do all of that. I was going to step into my creative bag. But that's why you should definitely be careful about the people that you let into your space or date. The man I'm with now would never. I can't believe I even dated that man. I prayed to God, all right, God, give me a real job. Mama needs money. Mama's about to be sad. At this time, y'all, I think I was turning 20. I was turning 27 that year. Ended up getting a job as a bottle girl. Hated it. I don't understand how anybody ever works that job. You literally have to push yourself through drunk people. I got switched over to being a hookah girl, and hookah was better because now people are getting out of your way when you got this hot tail cold coming through, and you're like, hookah, hookah, and they're like, oh, whoa, whoa. So people got out the way for hookah. People do not get out the way for bottles. They do not care. Bottle girl, hookah. Finally, my mom said, hey, why don't you apply to be a leasing consultant? The people that, show the apartments when you're moving around. Why don't you apply for that? And I was like, oh, okay, bet. And baby, I was determined. I think I applied maybe to more than 20 jobs. And I was doing this consistently, daily, every day, trying to make sure that I got a job. And I interviewed with this company a couple days before my birthday. And I got hired on my birthday as a leasing consultant, which in all, I got promoted within 8 months to be an assistant property manager. And then in 2 years, I left that company and became a property manager with another company. Now, the end goal really, truly was for me when I became a leasing consultant was to become a property manager. I thought that's really what I wanted to do. I was like, oh, yeah, property managers, they make bank, especially if you get a big property with like over 400 or 500 units. Property managers, they make good money. They can make over 6 figures. Like they can really get money. But you don't realize as the assistant manager or even the leasing consultant, the stress that a property manager has to go through, because all in all, it really does become like their main focus. You have to make sure that your leasing consultant and your assistant manager is doing their job. Then you have to worry about anything that's going on in your building. You have to be on top of your maintenance people. Like it was so overwhelming, and I was only blessed enough to have 100 units, 101 units at the job that I was working. And girl, I said, oh, hell no. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. God, I know this is what I asked for, but this is not where I want to be. No, girl. That, my friends, is how I got here to this beautiful day. And I quit my job, and now I'm a content creator. So I get to entertain you on my beautiful YouTube. my Instagram, and my TikTok. Which, by the way, if you're new here to my YouTube and you've never heard of me, but you just decided to pop on in because you're a little bit nosy, that's okay. Make sure you follow my Instagram, Jasmine Anisha, and make sure you follow my TikTok, Jasmine Anisha. And I am now 20 minutes late to my friend's girls' night. I'm going to skedaddle. Love you guys. Bye. Until next time. You know how people walk out, but they're really just going to end the video. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video.